Welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now let's hear it for our guest host, Andy Riddle.
Billy. Hey, Alliance Nation. Welcome to the Wednesday Call. We're super honored to be asked by Andy and Jane to do this. We don't take it lightly. But today we're going to talk about the recruiting basics out of the Green Book, the Millionaire Maker Manual. So if you have this, it should sound familiar, but this manual is the guaranteed to make $1 million a year income if you follow what's in the manual. What I would always say, it's thicker than the 8 Steps book and smaller font, less pictures, more money. But this is what you're going to do to the mystery of everyone's like, how do you build a big business? How do you go about doing it? Mystery solved. But what Andy's always taught me is wealthy people hide their secrets in books because they know poor people won't read them. So I guess we'll read it to you today. We'll read a section of it to you today. But I recommend getting the book and reading it. So, but yeah, we're going to hit the part talking about the 4 basics of recruiting. Some of my buddies on here that have been doing it, blowing up lately, recruiting and growing their businesses, I got on here with us. But kind of just to give you an overview of what the 4 basics are. What we're going to be talking about is the list, making a list once you get started, making a list of names to go through, the phone call, the interview, and the follow-up. And in the book, Andy talks about, and I've heard this before in different places I've read it, but a rocket ship uses 75% of its fuel to get 6 inches off the ground before it goes to space and back. And it's a lot like that in this business. So you got to use a lot of your fuel to get your business up and going. But once that momentum is built, it can take that 4 million pound rocket to space and back with the other 25% of the fuel. And so it's getting that action going. And you do it a lot through practice. So get with your manager, get with your upline, have them show you, work with you, and teach you the stuff that we did, those 4 basics and how to do it. And then through basic, just ready, fire, aim, go out there and do it and build that muscle up to get that momentum going, to build that well-oiled machine. A lot of people I find make mistakes is they want to wait till they get good at it, or they never get good because they never practice and do it. And most things and everything I've ever seen that people get good at, they actually go out there and do it and then start doing it a lot. And you're going to make mistakes and you're going to learn from your mistakes and move through things, but it's getting that repetition in there to get yourself going in the right direction. Even the space shuttle, when it takes off, it's got to readjust a bunch of times to get to its destination where it wants to go. It doesn't. They have a plan, but the plan changes, and it changes multiple times on the way because different winds, different things happen that they weren't expecting. Different things are going to happen in this business that's going to move your trajectory and what you do. So I'm going to bring on one of my buddies, my good buddy John Beverly, to talk a little bit about kind of what the four basics of recruiting and kind of how he's using it in his business. John's business has taken off. He's an agency manager with us, and he's one of our top recruiters month in and month out inside of our organization, just bringing people in and moving them through the system to get them started. So what's up, John?
Well, first of all, district manager, sir.
Oh, district. Sorry.
District manager, right?
Yeah, district manager. Thanks for correcting me. Well deserved. You should.
Right. No, man. I mean, when I got into this business, I was like everybody else. Like the recruiting thing, I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I just want to sell. I just want to, be able to make money. And then it wasn't until I sat down with you and actually had a conversation about what that looks like, how it works, and how it could change my business is when I really, really started to think about, okay, well, maybe I need to take a shift and figure out, this recruiting, selling, and building thing. And once I did that, I started to read this book. Like Andy said, like this is like the blueprint, right? If you want to know how to do it and get it done, read this book. The answers are in the book, right? And so for me, like one of the things that stood out to me when I started reading this chapter related to like the 4 bases of recruiting is Andy says that it's not about being lucky. It's about being consistent and actually following a proven program, right? And that was huge for me. Because that means that it could be duplicated. It could be duplicated. right? And so that's what I learned. I learned how to duplicate the business. And so I would, meet with Riddle like every week, and we GS3 and talk about, how to get agents going, how to get myself going. I would, bring agents to him to actually hear him do the presentation and how that stuff works. And so for me, that's how I learned to do the recruiting part. All of, getting my list together. I had a list of people that I came up with. We dialed through it. So he gave me the tips on what I needed to be saying to these people. I listened to him do that, and that helped me be able to duplicate the process and do it over and over and over again. And it's just, the more you're able to do that, the better you become at it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just do it once or twice and then think that, okay, that's it, I don't need to do it anymore. No, it needs to be constantly engraved into your mind that this is a process that I need to do consistently over and over and over again. And then learning from the people who are successful. That's why I reach out to an Andy Riddle and a Terry Edwards and people and Brian Rojas and Michelle Jones. Sebastian, I had Sebastian on a call with me a couple of weeks ago just to go over stuff to help my team get better, because we're all about growth here, right? So in growing, we know that there's a process that we have to do. And if people that are successful are making money doing it, then that's what I want to do. So that was, for me, that was huge. And that's what I implement to help me get going. And now we're doing that to help our team get going the same exact way.
The cool thing with that, John, is basically how we found you. I hired a guy out in Dallas, Texas, through an ad, and we went through his list, and he led me to a guy in Georgia, and I went through his list that led me to you.
Yep.
You were never a guy that you never, as far as I know, you never responded to one of my ads. And if you did, you weren't interested with them. But when I talked to two of your guys that you knew, all of a sudden you were interested. You know what I mean? So
correct. Absolutely.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part that, hey, you never know, right? You have to continue to keep bringing people in. And I use this phrase, it's stuck with me since View from the Edge, flipping cards. Like, you are literally flipping cards. You have to continue to flip cards. And I tell my team that all the time, guys, we're only going to get better if we continue to keep flipping cards, right? Because aces are in there, but you got to go through the 2s, the 3s, the 7s, the 10s, and the 5s and the jokers in order to get to the aces. And so that's what we do. We consistently try to flip cards, and we use the 4 bases in recruiting to be able to do that.
Cool. I'm going to come back to you and talk to you some more, but I'm going to jump over to Sebastian and LaQuinta. New agency managers, 2 months in a row, new agency managers, and I won't screw this one up because I already screwed John's up, but they're recognized district managers. So they're already hit the next scale in their final month of qualifying for the agency manager. So their business is going in that direction, the right direction, and keep going. Can you guys talk a little bit kind of, I just lost them. Did they disappear on you guys?
I don't know what's going on, man. It's not me, it's the gremlins.
Technology not my strength either, Sebastian. If that happens on my computer, I'm just going to wrap it up and be like, take it over. So but their business is going in a great direction. They're similar too. I mean, through Terry and Tia's organization, I know Terry, he was talking about it on our call this week, but how he found Sebastian and LaQuinta, and they can talk a little bit about it, because I remember Rose, because she lived down the road from me. She used to live down here the road. I don't know if she still does, but she used to. So, but yeah, go ahead and take it over. Talk a little bit about what you guys got going on, how you're using the recruiting basics in your business.
Well, Sebastian and LaQuinta, of course, billionaires. We have mansions and yachts. That's just how we introduce ourselves, so people kind of remember. But when you look at the 4 basics of recruiting, the list, the phone call, the interview, the follow-up, we've been in every business since Amway, when Andy was in Amway. 1992 is where we met and got our start. And so every business that involves any type of recruiting, there has to be some type of system to have some success. So when we came to the Alliance, it's funny because, I'm telling too, Andy has taken all of the good stuff of Amway and other things that he's come across And we've put together this success system in the alliance. And when I say it works, baby, it works. And we bring our beings to it. We do a lot of this stuff, and it's robotic to a degree, but we get to be us while we're doing it over here. The cool part is we're all self-employed. So who's going to fire me? So I get to follow all the... She tried to fire me, but we get to follow this system, and it's simple. It's basic. Like some people say this to me, Sebastian, when it comes to the list of names. I don't know very many people. So I grab their phone and I'll scroll. If you go to their contacts and go to the very bottom, it'll show how many contacts are in their phone. And you can say, well, look, you've got 200 names right here. Let's just start there. And you just kind of go through one by one. Tell me your top 5 people that, listen, here's the scenario. The police picked you up. You're going to jail now. Out of this list of 100 people, give me the top 5 you would call that would actually help you, that you feel confidence in. Because some of us got some friends, we won't call them for no reason whatsoever because we know they're not going to pick up. If I only get one call and I call you, you're not picking up, I'm not calling you. I want that person that if it's 12 o'clock at night, they're going to pick up and say, what's going on, brother? So let's reach out to them. And I don't want you to judge it if they're interested or not. We want to at least put it out there. We want to talk because we have a certain way that we know how to talk to those people to inquire to see if they're even interested. So we're not trying to push anything on them. It's just that you don't know what happens. When I got reached out to by Rose Poole that you just mentioned, what happened was Terry met Rose because she answered a Craigslist. They got to talking, and when she was talking to him, the first person that came to her mind was me and LaQuinta. So they connected us. Now, Rose, I love her. She's a friend, but I haven't heard from her in a while. I don't know where she's at in the country right now. But look at where we're at today. So it was that list of names that she had that I was on, thank God, that we're here today sharing our story. So that's the power of that list and just having faith and just going through it. But most people got at least at a minimum. If you got a cell phone, you got less than 25 names, I don't really know if I want to hire you because it ain't 25 people that you care enough about to have their number in your phone. That's I'm questioning, do we need you right now? I'm sorry, I don't care. Get mad, I don't care. What's the word? I'm judgmental like that. Yeah, I'm judgmental like that. So yeah. Oh, you're muted.
I was saying, if you have less than 25 names, why do you even need a cell phone? No one's talking to you anyways.
Exactly. You can raise the window and just yell down the street. Something's not going on right there.
And it's cool, just like John and you guys, where it came through a list of names. I mean, in the book, Andy talks about it. Start with 20 to 50 names out of their phone. And the key part is work, like Rose did, was work with Terry to get Terry on the phone. Because when you start talking to people, especially when you're brand new, you want to work with your upline to bring credibility. And the credibility is, even though Sebastian likes Rose, knows Rose, and she had not accomplished anything in this business, so her credibility at that point was very low. But she used Terry's credibility to find someone like Sebastian LaQuinta to come aboard because of Terry's credibility. And that's the great thing with doing it. In the book, Andy talks about it as like a fast break in basketball. When you get out on a fast break and have like a 2-on-1, me and Terry are running together, and there's only one defender back there, it's easy to score because you're outnumbering the odds. And that's what using the credibility of your growing upline to help you cause like a fast break with those people. And before long, it's one of those things that you're not gonna score on every single one of them, but you're gonna score on a lot of them and a high percentage of them because you have the numbers in your favor. And getting that list is it's important because you want to get it quick. The longer they're around, the less likely you are to get a list, less likely they're going to turn over to you. So you almost have to have like that eye of the tiger to get that list and get there quickly, and knowing that's what you're trying to accomplish very quickly, and get to those calls quick. And if you're helping your team do it, don't you be the slowdown to get through the list. Be like, we need to schedule this, we need to get on the books, let's do it now, in that aspect. aspect. So cool. I'm going to come back to each one of you guys. I'm going to jump around, but Michelle's over here. She has a growing business. She's actually multiple states, traveling the world, going around, helping her agents out, doing a bunch of stuff. If I'm not mistaken, Michelle, you came from a list kind of too, though. In the aspects of you coming aboard, you're on Big Mike's team and you're growing like crazy over there. But talk a little bit about kind of how you came aboard and getting some lists with your guys as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andy, for having me on the call. But hey, guys, I'm Michelle Cola. I'm out of Tampa. I know it says Angela Riddle here, which is just so funny because I'm using her computer. But anyhow, what's really cool, though, as I was listening to John and Sebastian, I was like, dang, we're all in depth. Like nobody hired us directly. If I'm not mistaken, I'm 3 levels deep. And then, the guy who hired me, he never even he didn't get his license until like a year and a half after I did. So it's like, could we just, and that's my brother, which is just so hilarious. But it's like,
I was going to say, who's that guy?
Yeah, my brother, he just, apparently, when you're in that meeting, in that hotspot meeting, and, by the grace of God, he got to go to a meeting. His first one was with Andy Albright. And, nobody does that meeting.
Hey, guys.
But anyhow, so I just thought it was cool, just listening to you guys and how like none of us got hired by the person. We're all like through somebody else's warm market. Thank God. And I think about it all the time and I'm like, thank freaking God my brother didn't wait to get good because he never got good. And I wouldn't have this life. And if my brother would have waited to get good, then my team won't be here. And you just think about how it all trickles down and the impact that decision makes when you're being a psychic friend to think somebody won't do it. Like, and it's just the ripples that it could cause. It's just real. You're thinking, hey, that person they're not going to do it. They got this or they got that. But it's like, how do you know? How do you know? What are you basing it on? And so like super fortunate that he took a leap of faith before he ever got licensed. And I think when I look at these basics, right, I think about, they seem super simple and they are, right? But that's not to say that it's the easiest thing to do. I think there's still like a learning curve in it. And for the people who are, brand new, you have to leverage your growing up line. You just have to. And it's like it's not just stepping out of the way. It's holding on to them while that person does 75% of the work and you get to do 25. But not forever. Don't kick your feet back. Pay attention. Watch how they're asking questions. And that's what I do to Riddle. I'm just trying to hold on tight to him. And now we're at a point where I have to take on more of the work, but he's still there behind us, cleaning it up and doing what he needs to do. And so I was listening to this thing and it was talking about Michael Jordan, and it was talking about how Michael Jordan starts every practice with a chest pass, most simplest thing ever, and it's just a fundamental. And you think about how you just master that, and then when people start getting good at fundamentals, they start trying to do dunks and 360 this and between the legs, and it's like those things don't win championships. If you think about what wins championships, it's free throws, it's layups, it is these basics. So when you come back to it, when I'm thinking about the list and the call, the interview, the follow-up, I'm thinking, okay, now I'm able to get a list, right? Like my track record right now kind of speaks for itself, right? I've accomplished some stuff. What I haven't, I leveraged Riddle's success or Andy Albright's success, right? And so now, you're able to get names. Okay, then what do you do with those names? Like for me speaking, it's like, Sebastian has said a little bit, you get to put your own spin on it. You still get to be you, but you can't forget that we're not trying to sell the insurance. Sell the alliance. I'm not trying to sell the alliance. And in the beginning, I think I was like, we're the best thing ever. And that's not, people will know that, they will find out, but I think there's that process in it if you just can figure out who they are and what they want, what they got going on, and then you edify the teammate, right? So my group out in Houston, actually my team in general, I love them, but I'm traveling a lot out there and I'm seeing them, the way that they're edifying me. And then when we get on the phone, it's just that edification right back. I'm super excited to work with them because they are going to grow like crazy. And right now we're just looking for, more sharp people. We're looking. Now we're looking for more sharp people to get off the ground with us. Like, let it be known that they're still growing and they're learning, but here's what you can expect from me. Here's the access. And I think, like, as you're doing this, just understand that you have to seek coaching in between. And I'm sure, Riddle, you remember like a lot of the frustrations of like what I had in the beginning and how long these interviews were, because you're just doing so much talking and so much, but less is more, y'all. Less is more. If you're asking more questions, they're answering, you're in control. It's just these little things that you learn along the way, but you have to do it in order to learn. And that's like... Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, you rolled into the phone call, which is perfect timing, but it's in the phone call stuff that you do. It is the volume game of doing it and getting through it and practicing and getting it. And a lot of new people, when they do it, like I did one the other day with a new person, and I swear after I hung up with the person, they called them back and told them all the things I didn't tell them. You know what I mean? It's like, I think I know what I'm doing here. You know what I mean? And it's when you're new, you're super excited, and if you're the one making the phone calls, they're going to last 45 minutes and an hour, and you really should have them last no more than 15 minutes. And I agree. I can't tell them everything that we do and how we do it and everything in 15 minutes. The purpose of the phone call is to gauge interest. And what you're trying to do is, are they open-minded to other opportunities to make money? Are they open-minded to different changes? Are they open-minded to stuff? And you're gauging the interest. From there, you bam-fam the interview, which is the 3. But kind of in the aspects of the phone call, Michelle, it's kind of funny when you bring it up. It's just like, it is like the most common thing when you have new people. It's where I always say they throw up all over. You know what I mean? And it's really hard when you do that to get people attracted to the business or even be interested in the business. You're setting the bait. You're setting you're putting a little bit out there to gauge interest if they're opening to it. And from that, you want to do other things. And we'll kind of put the phone call and the third one, the interview, together, because they kind of you work together. But once you gauge that interest, you need to bam-fam. I remember when I first talked to John through the list of names, and then when I actually talked to him, I was gauging his interest, and I was to Atlanta pretty quick. I was up, hey, I'm flying up to Atlanta next week. You want to get together? I didn't have a plan to go to Atlanta until I talked to John. You know what I mean? But I know there's flights every single day to Atlanta from Jacksonville, and I can get there. You know what I mean? So it was kind of in that aspects to get things rolling. And but it's that when you gain the interest and you find people that are open to that part, the most important thing is to bam-fam another meeting with them. Now, you can use the hotspots to it. I know Andy's doing in Dallas next week, and in Houston, he's getting together there. That's a great place to bam-fam your people to meet Andy Albright if you're in Dallas and Houston, where he's doing a social get-together and explain things. But it's that phone call is let Andy do the heavy lifting at those meetings, or the get-together. When you meet them face to face on the interview is where you really get to explain to them what we do and how we do it. Now, here's the key. When you do interviews in the book, it tells you things in there like what to expect them to say and the objections you're going to get. Especially early on when you don't know what to do. Practice those objections because they're coming. So know what to say back to them. The other things to do is it's an interview. You're interviewing them. They're not interviewing us. And the key to winning an interview is asking more questions than they ask you. So you need to be finding out more about them than they find out about you, because you're interviewing them to your business. And when you get good at that and you understand that we're looking to bring around sharp people, so we want to get to know you. It's not us just telling you everything, how great we are. But Michelle, just like in sales, and I know Sebastian and John know this too, when you're in home sales, you're finding more about them than you're selling the insurance product. It's the same thing. You're building that trust. You're building that aspects. Michelle, I'm going to go to you. Since you've already done a little bit on the phone, can you talk a little bit about when you go to Houston and meet with these people or doing them, and then I'll go reverse order on the way back through Sebastian and back to John, but kind of hit on like what your interviews were like when you meet these people?
Yeah, so like what you said before too, where it's like, you didn't actually have a plan to go to Atlanta until you got John. It's just like, you're doing these interviews in Houston, you're like, oh my gosh, so crazy. What a God thing. I'm actually gonna be out there. And then you're booking your flight like more or less at the same time. They don't know, but you're just trying to use that speed as best as you can to get out there. And I think like when I do go, the idea, again, is I'm not going there when I meet them to just spew out information, about what we do. When I get there, it's still very much, I'm trying to get you to like me. I'm trying to figure out what it is that you want to do and why you want to do it and who's important to you. I have a lot of people on my team who have kids and who are doing it as a single parent, and they're just trying to get it how they live. And I'm just trying to help them grab it as much as they can. But you only can do that if you go there, you build a relationship. And like, I think in the beginning, I thought, yeah, I'm going to go there. I'm going to get some leads and we're going to run some business. And like, that will work for a very, like, it's so transactional, and it's weird, and it's not even who you are. Usually you just think that that's the system, and it's not. Like, when you go there, you have to work on the relationships, and then as you're building those relationships, that's how you get a list. Like, it comes from having that trust. They see you coming all the way over here. They actually see what you've been able to accomplish. They meet the rest of the team. They're like, okay, this is what I want to have too. And then they share with you. It's that one hand washes the other. And so, I've been traveling there for a decent amount of time now. My relationships are pretty solid, and they just keep getting better with that next person that we chat with, that next person that comes in the business. As I'm still going wide, I still have to start from scratch on a baby person. And it's like, this one over here is a little bit developed. We're working in depth, but this one over here, they don't know me from Adam or Eve. You have to treat them like, what do you got? You're just excited. And in the book, it talks about your passion and your excitement is what's going to do it as well. It has nothing to do with the leads, not leaders, the system, the people, that kind of stuff. But I mean, the rest of the stuff is just like, put that to the side. That's kind of what I learned the most, just traveling back and forth. Andy, you're muted.
Sorry, Sebastian LaQuinta, coming back to you, kind of the same type thing that Michelle was just talking about from when you doing the phone calls, engaging the interest of the people that you have, and then building that interview and starting that relationship. I know Terry and Tia are great at it when what they've done with you over the years, but kind of how have you been finding it as you building your team and as it's growing, the things that you're doing from the phone call, the things you're looking for to gauge their interest, and then kind of once you gauge your interest and meet with them, what are the aspects of the interview that you guys are starting to do with your team and finding out?
Well, when we are calling, when we have that appointment, we're talking to them. First thing I do is I set them at ease on the call. I congratulate them, number one, for getting their license. And I tell them, I say, listen, that was a big deal getting your insurance license. And I take care of my whole family. I help my parents. I help take care of my kids, my grandkids, my family, my employees. So that little license is very powerful when used properly. So congratulations, man. You've done something very transformational if you take advantage of it. And they always think, yeah, I did get my license. And then I asked them, several questions. We have a format that we use. We use the song method. But I'll tell them up front, listen, let's just have an informal conversation. I need to see if we even like one another right now. I want to find out a little bit about you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. And if that part goes well, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what we do. And if you graduate from there, I'm going to send you a 17-minute video that's going to explain it in detail. Okay? Can we do that today? That sound good to you? And then we go right into it. And then I start the song process. Ask them about what they do. I get down in the nitty gritty. And as I'm talking to them, I'm trying to get to that G, that goal. What's driving them? So we go through all the other little processes, situation, organization, what the normal day looks like, and then the goals. That goals is where it starts getting thick. And once I establish that I can help them reach their goals without opportunity, and what their normal day looks like and what they're willing to participate in matches, then I offer to go the next step. Because I had one guy, we got on the phone and he was working with a company, I won't say the name, but all they do is tell us sales. And so we got to the part where I say, well, hey, listen, man, what we do is a little different from what you're doing. We sit face to face with clients. Oh, I don't know if I want to drive around town and sit in front of people. I said, oh, okay. You're trying to do transactional insurance. You want to just talk to people, write insurance, and move to the next. So you don't really have customer service in mind and nothing like that. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that takes too much time. I said, well, hey, man, listen, I appreciate it. If that changes for you, let's get back together, because what I do, I transform lives. I get in front of people. I show them what I can offer them because they've already asked me to help. And if I can help them, we work together, and I'll take care of their friends and family members. So we're a little bit more engaged in that. Because remember, I told you, wow, we like to have fun, make money, and make a difference. I said, what you're talking about is just making money. I like to do all three. So let's talk again down the road, maybe after you see how that works out in 90 days. That sound good? And so it's got to be a put out there and a take away, because we want to make sure that we even like these people, first of all. You know, remember the friend with 25 names? We don't want that guy. we want to make sure that we like this person, that they fit the mold. And so that interview has to be to the point where it's engaging like that. And, you know, you give them a little bit about your story as well, because a lot of times your story or a story, you know, can connect. You know, we was on the phone with a lady last week, young lady, 20 years old. She had a very strong accent. And we told her about Olga. And we told her how she was able to come in and build the business. And I mean, she's like we're here, like Olga's like here. And it's like, this business is no respect of persons. If you do what's required and take care of people, the business is going to pay back dividends. And that's what Olga and Jason have done. And I told this young lady, you could be no different than that. And she's in Florida. Okay. Okay. So, but yeah, just that phone call and that interview process is very pivotal. I can't say the word. I can't say it. See, you can't even say it. Pivotal. Yeah, pivotal. Yeah, I can say pivotal. Anyway, it's very pivotal because that can decide the success of where you go from there. So you lay a real good foundation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sebastian. John, same thing for you. I know you do a lot of the phone calls, and then it seems like every day I'm getting a call for text from John. Hey, can you jump on a call real quick? And he's introducing me to someone else. So talk a little bit about kind of like how you're checking the interest on the phone call, and then when you're interviewing, what you're doing and how you're having success with that.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. So with me, and I don't know if you guys know really kind of how I operate, but I have an opportunity to work with a lot of people from social media. You know, that's how I've been able to kind of build my setup and my team. So I'm constantly interviewing probably 12 to 15 people a week about our opportunity. And I'll be honest, I was one of those people, like Michelle said, Andy said, I was throw up all over you. Right. I'm just blah, 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 blah. We are the alliance. We're this, we're that. We're better than whoever you're with. Yeah. And it's just like, whoa, hold up, slow down. That's overwhelming. That's a lot going on at one time. Right. So I had to learn, to scale it back and really, like the book says, ask questions instead of giving so much information. Because, right, I felt like I was a Georgia Bulldog. I was all over you. You know what I mean? So I had to scale it back. You know what I mean? And really get into the situation where you're starting to gauge someone's interest by the questions that you're asking, right? And the feedback that they give, they will let you know if this is a good fit for them or not. And so once I started to figure that part of it out, and then I will go to the next stage. It's like, hey, well, listen, I have an opportunity for you. And look, I also want to introduce you to someone who has been doing very, very well in this business. And guess what? He's a mentor of mine. And he has shown me how I can basically leverage my business to take care of my financial situation. Do you have 10, 15 minutes to get on a call? And then that's when I will call Andy, y'all. And I've been doing that since I've been in the business, right? Doesn't matter how long I've been, I've been with the Alliance almost 4 years. And guess what? I still do that to this day. So I'm never a person that feels like I've gotten to the point where I've graduated and I don't need an Andy Riddle. I need Andy Riddle, right? So I'm going to use and leverage him to help me basically get through this process where I'm gauging interest. I'm finding out what this person wants, what their goals are, and then have Andy just kind of slam dunk it on the back end and say, hey, here's what we do. Here's the opportunity. Here's how we present it. Here's how we can help you get your situation taken care of as well if you decide to tag along with us, right? And so with that, like, that has helped me tremendously in my business, because like I said, I do talk to a lot all the time, and look, everybody is not going to be for you, and I'm 100% okay with that too. Like, everybody I talk to, they don't decide to come on board with me, right? It may just not be a good fit. I'm like Sebastian. I want to find people who are good fits for what we do. I want to find people who connect with me, and then me connect with them. So once we form a connection, if you connect with me, I know you're going to connect with Riddle, right? So those are the people that I'm looking for, and that's how I gauge my opportunities with the people that I talk to on a consistent basis. And like I say, I'm talking to people all the time. I'm going through the 4 steps of the recruiting process, and then once I bring those people in, it's really, hey, now let's dive into how we can help you get your goals here, but I need you to be all in. Like I said, you use everything. You use the hot spots, you use the GS3, you use the convention, you use everything in your power to get your people to those opportunities, because guess what? That's where the fire is at. That's where the fire is located. So I'm trying to figure out how can I quickly get my people around the fire, right? And I know if I can get them connected and get them to the fire, they're going to skyrocket off, right? And the book talks about how you have to make sure that you do everything within that 24 to 48 hour time frame, because after that, if you don't connect with them in 24 to 48 hours, you're going to lose them. So that's kind of what I do for mine.
And John, one of the things you do a great job with, and the book talks about, is when you getting them on there is the close. Like, you close on getting them with us, and Andy gives you 3 closing questions right here in the book. But it says, does this interest you at all? Do you think this is something you'd qualify for? Do you think you could satisfy expectations once you get licensed? It's closing questions to see if they're ready to move forward and move them forward in the aspects of what you're doing when you're interviewing them. Because it's one thing to interview them and get to know them. It's another thing to be like, all right, well, think about it. We'll get back to you. That's not closing. You know what I mean? That's like if you're in the home being like, yeah, you probably should think about it. I'll come back in a week and get that check or whatever. You're not going to do very well. And the same thing on recruiting. If you're not closing and asking closing questions in that interview to move them forward, you're just going to be like, it don't work, it doesn't work. Well, in the version I have, it's page 221. You better read that page with the closing questions, because you need to close. You can connect all you want, but it's those closing abilities and knowing how to get them moving and getting them forward from that interview. When you find the right person to move forward, it's to close them and move them forward. Cool. All right, we'll go back through. The 4th one is the follow-up, and that's where you really have to be on the ball to continue to communicate to your people and move them forward. One of the greatest terms that I learned very early in this business is the BAM-FAM. It's book a meeting from a meeting, and through all the steps of the recruiting thing, you can BAM-FAM all the way through. But BAM-FAMing is one of those ways to really, really help people move forward. It's when you're talking to them, is setting the expectation, and when you're going to follow up with it again to kind of go to the next step. This is where the objections are going to come in, where they're like, oh, I got church league softball this week, so I can't do this. It's knowing how to deal with the life events that people have. Last Friday's call was with Alex Sabian and the team that he brought on was serious life events, like pretty dramatic ones. But you're going to have people give you objections with, I got this, I got that. My favorite TV show's on. It's anything. Andy always says our biggest competition's like Budweiser, because they like to go out and drink beer at night. You know what I mean? That's like our biggest competition. So it's knowing those objections and how to handle them and get people to move forward. And then the 2 is on the follow up is start teaching your guys the 4 basics that we're going through to start building depth inside of your team, and walking your new recruits through their list of names, how to check interest, from there how to interview, and then do the follow-ups through them to start building that aspects. And one of my favorite things of all the recruiting stuff that I feel like I do a ton with agents that I work with and talk to is the GS3. And the GS3 is just an aspect to really help people. I think it's a way to like jumpstart your recruits business, which will jumpstart your business, but really get their business going. And GS3, Andy does a great job explaining it on NA University. Highly recommend going to watch it. But GS3 stands for Get Started, Goal Set, and Go Serve. Michelle has a funny story when she started doing these, and it's funny. She did the GS2, but her business took off when she started doing the GS3. The GS3 is, I feel like it's almost every single time I talk to someone, even someone like Michelle that I talk to all the time, it's almost like every conversation, it's like, what are we getting started with? What are we goal setting? And how can I go serve you? In that aspect. And those are the ways of the follow-up to really just follow that system that Andy's put in place on the follow-ups to get your business moving quickly. And if you follow those follow-up tools, I mean, there's things on there. Get them on the TWC, get them on the Thursday call, get them on the activity call, have them follow up in that, get them part of the system. If they have a bi-weekly meeting in that area, get them plugged into the meetings. If they don't, whenever there is a meeting within a 4-hour radius, try to get them to those. It's following the system in the 8 steps, but in the aspects of, as a new person, while you're trying to introduce them to the 8 steps. Just like these 4 basics, the 8 steps are super easy too, but they're easier not to do them. So you're trying to invite. Andy always calls it your chief reminding officer. So you're just constantly reminding. And through BAMFAMs has always been my secret. Like, when's the next time we're going to talk? When's the next time we're going to see each other? How are we going to do that? I'll go back in reverse order again. I'm going back to you, John, but talk about the things that you do with the follow-ups with your guys, because I know you're bringing on all those, especially through social media, because yours are spread out all over the place. Kind of the aspects that you do to BAMFAM, different objections that you get, you hear a lot. I always say it's like when you recruit someone, it's like they read the same playbook as the person you talked before them. That there's not many things different from them. And then the things, how you're teaching them to move forward to get them growing a team in their businesses.
Yeah, I mean, the objections are going to be the objections. I mean, you're going to get the objections that, hey, just like you say, you get them. You get the same objections that you get when you're, trying to bring some money. And you have to use I still use the A method with that, right? I mean, I acknowledge what they say. I ignore it and say, just, hey, well, listen, I have this opportunity for you. We can definitely help you if this is something that you choose to do. I can show you how to get it done. So I'm acknowledging what they said. I ignore what they said and I move on. It's the same exact thing, right? The objections will be the objections, and you'll get a ton of them. Like, I don't have time for it right now. A big one. I'm a single mother. I don't think I can do this as a single mother. Right? That's one of the big ones. And I'm like, I know single mothers in our organization and in our business that are crushing this thing. So I just kind of edify people that I know that went through that process with us. So I'm edifying them to let the person know that, hey, we do have people that were in your same situation, right? That are phenomenally well. So don't let that be an excuse, right? The money thing. Another one, I don't have money. I can't buy leads. I can't, whatever. Hey, there are a million of ways to make this business work without having money. And if money is the issue, we can probably help you a little bit getting started with that too. So, that's kind of how I format it as far as overcoming the objections that I get. Loosely what I do with consistently, because I do work with a lot of people from social media. So I don't know these people. They're not like my downline. Like, these are people I'm just really finding on TikTok. So that's kind of how I work to operate that. And then like Andy mentioned, man, I'm trying to meet with them as quickly as possible and BAMFAM as much as I possibly can. Hey, now that we've got you indoctrinated, we've got you signed up, we got you fast track. Hey, let's set up a meeting next week so that we can go over what the process is. Hey, here are the top 5 companies that I need you to go ahead and get contracted with, right? So I'm already setting a tone. I actually have this email that I send out to all of my new agents. It's called What's Next, right? And then that What's Next email, it basically gives them step by step of the things that they should be doing to get their journey started until we're able to meet again, right? And then from there, it's like, hey, here's what we got going on this week. I sent out a weekly, calendar. We've got the TWC this week. We have our team training call on Wednesday night. Hey, here's the list of hot spots. And I send it out to the folks that are in the area. Hey, if you're in Louisville, Kentucky, there's a boot camp going on in Louisville. If you're in Fort Lauderdale, hey, you need to link up with Olga and Jason Mathis. Matter of fact, let me shoot them a text or call them and let them know that you're coming. Right. So that's just the way that I move and how I operate. I always try to use the alliance as leverage to basically help my agents get going as quickly as possible. Now, I understand that every agent is going to move at their own pace no matter what. I mean, it is what it is. But you always try to make sure that you give them the same courtesy and the same opportunities to get their business going and growing as fast as it possibly can. So that's what I'm using out here in the Alliance streets to get people going.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Love it. All right, Sebastian and LaQuinta, back to you two. What kind of things are you guys doing to like follow up, get your guys moving faster, getting them through the system? I know with your business exploding, you got to be doing something. You got to be doing something to get them moving.
Well, I know one of the things that we've been doing is traveling, just like Michelle. We're not scared to get on the airplane. We're not scared to put the miles in on the vehicle. So wherever we have interest, wherever we have people, that's where we're going to go. Just like, for instance, 2 weeks ago, we were in Seattle, Washington with a friend of ours. 2 friends of ours, actually, and, hired her, started, writing her own personal policies, talking to some of her people, had a meeting with her and, got some people fired up and ready to go. Then last week we were in Houston, we attended the boot camp, and we also have people that we hired out in the Houston area. So brought them in, so we are willing to go and grow and serve these people that we've talked to on the phone. So you got to be willing to meet people where they're at. Like when we first got into the business, we got on an airplane and we flew to T and Terry, because we wanted to get to know them. We wanted to get around the fire. We wanted to absorb what they were doing. We wanted to see the office. We wanted to meet their people. We just wanted to be around it so we can actually see that it's working, So yeah, we're those willing people. That's what we've been doing. I know locally, we've been going to Oklahoma City, so doing that tomorrow. So it's all about getting out of yourself. And when you find the people, go to the people. Some people are visual learners, so you have to consider that. So hands-on, get in that vehicle, get on that airplane, and go help the people. And then teach them what you're doing. Like you said, the 8 steps, the 4 phases to, recruiting and all that kind of stuff. So that's where we want to be, and that's what we've been doing.
Yeah. So like, for instance, when it comes to like what she's saying, that follow-up process, traveling to those people, sitting down with them, we're real big on after they watch a presentation video, because I don't believe in doing a presentation on an interview. After they've watched their presentation video and they decide to get started, I jump on a Zoom. I send them the link to the ARC. I have them hire themselves. Once they hire themselves, we go to contracting. I sit with them to do their first contract. Then I give them a list of all the carriers to go back on their time, and it's their first homework assignment. Then I take them straight to NAA University and introduce them to Gina. And then we go to that Get Start Quickly tab. Then their second homework assignment is to go through that tab, watch everything, and check every box once you're done. Now, the next question, is there anything stopping you from having that done within the next 24 hours? No, I got this, I got that, blah, blah, blah. Okay. How about 48 hours? Can you get it done in the next 48 hours? I don't know, man. I was thinking maybe next week. Oh, no. I need this within 72. I'm trying to step you to the 72, but you got to get this done in 72 hours because you're not the only person I'm working with. I want to help you, and I want to help you have success. But hey, how you start is how you finish, right? So let's go ahead. Let's do this. We're going to put you down. Today is Wednesday. Saturday, we're going to be back on the phones at this time. And I need you to have as much of this completed because I got another assignment for you, because if I don't get you through this process, you're going to lose interest and I'm going to lose you. Do you want to be lost right now? I don't think so. Okay, well, listen, I'm not that harsh with people, but you have to have a sense of urgency to get them through the steps and use all the stuff that's in the system. Don't create anything that hasn't already been put in place because it becomes complicated. use the system, and now everything is going to flow. So that's how we follow up and bam, fam. Every time we book a meeting with somebody, when we're done, and I have them on my calendar, the very last step is bam, fam, book a meeting from a meeting. And so we just always, within 72-hour touches, I try to do 24-hour. If I can't do 24-hour, 48-hour, if not 48 hours, 72-hour, we're back talking and moving through the steps.
Now, Sebastian, when you're doing that stuff and bam, fam, and following up every 72, 48, 24 hours, are you setting expectations for them to do from one call to another?
Yes. I let them know, listen, I need this. I really need you to get this done, because for us to move forward and get you started quickly, if you don't complete these tasks, it's going to be hard for me to bring when I come in on the next appointment. Our next appointment, we're going to be talking about this, this, and this. Okay. So the first appointment is always, we're hiring them, getting them through contracting. They're going to go through their contracts, and then I get it started quickly. When I meet with them the second time, we're now going over your list of names, scheduling your practice appointments, and putting together your ATM. So you're scheduling, I'm going to send you this ATM, you're going to send it back to me, and we're going to look at it, make sure it's good. You're going to have something to either you're going to print it out, or if you write your own policies, because I also include, we're going to sit down and do your first quotes are going to be on yourself. So you're also going to fill a green sheet out on yourself. We're going to write a policy on you. If you write a policy on you, I'm going to load you up with all this equipment, all these tools. If you don't write a policy on yourself, you're going to buy it, because I'm not going to give you anything if you're not invested in yourself. If you don't believe in the product enough for that, I don't need to give away my stuff. So we're going to make sure that you are equipped, but we're going to get you out there with moral authority to help people, get you your equipment, and we're going to take the next step. And so if they do what we ask, then it flows real smooth. If they don't, it just drags it out, and it takes me longer to get them paid and help and getting them helping people in their communities.
We love maximizing the moments. We don't like to waste people's time, and we're not trying to waste our time, because we do have a schedule. We follow a very strict schedule, and we notice that most people like to know what the next step is. They're asking. If we don't get to it fast enough, sometimes they're asking us, well, what's the next step? So they are expecting to be walked through certain steps, because other companies don't do that.
Right.
So we are authentic and unique in that area where the system works. And so if you follow it and you teach it from the beginning, that's the flow. That's how it's going to be. So we're having fun doing it.
Yeah, I can see how it's making your business grow and what it's doing to work. Sebastian, one thing you said was you're saying, if you don't have this done by the next call, we're not going to be able to do this, this, and this, and this. And that jumped out to me. I was like, I bet you that makes people move.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the close and why they need to do it in that call. So
Right.
I love it, man. So awesome. Michelle, how about you? What kind of things are you doing to follow up and build those relationships that you got going on in your business?
God, guys, this is so good. Everything that everybody saying is so good. And, we're all just doing all of that and then some, And so where Riddle was laughing, saying, I was doing GS2s, it's kind of funny because he's being gracious. I was probably doing GS 1.5s. It was one of those things where I couldn't figure out what was happening next. This is what you want. All right, what's up? And I couldn't figure it out. And then Riddle was like, well, let me hear what you're saying. And he's like, where's your part? And I was like, huh? He's like, what are you going to do? And I, in that moment, I think back to these, they're just so crucial, these conversations, because you think, dang, I guess I really did put it all on them to just do this. And there was no expectation from me, right? Not so much what I expect, because I was doing a bad job at that as well, but what they can expect from me. And I think those GS3 calls are only everything. And at first I used to think it had to be a formal sit down call. I'm realizing you can do it all the time, especially because it's being done to me all the time. But right now I am still in that mode where that's the next thing, right? Is that GS3 and setting, if you first tell people what they can expect from you. And if, actually, Riddle, you said this before too. You said, I always want to do more for my team than they do for me. And, just put more deposits in than taking out. And so that's all I'm trying to do is put more in, be there more for them than they can for me. You know what I mean? Help them in every situation. So on that GS3, when it's, what can you expect from me? Traveling there and being there on their worst days, I can't stress it enough. Traveling there and building the relationships, can't stress it enough. It's like, I'm coming all this way. Now, it doesn't mean that they always show up, right? Because people got stuff going on, and it just is what it is. But for the ones that do, and you show up for them, it does more. It does more when you're there. It matters. And you're just in the mud with them. It just shows that you actually really care, and you'll do whatever it takes to get them there. And so, like, post travel, like, all I'm trying to do is get them to go as far as they can go. And on those calls, when I'm setting the expectation, these calls are part of it. And, it's set up where, hey, we have an activity call every single Wednesday, every single Friday. We have an activity call every Friday, TWCs on Wednesday. There's a product call. You can expect me to send those to you. I expect you to be on those, because all the training we're going to do together, it kind of won't make sense if you're not plugged into the call. And then, when the call is over, after you send it out, it's not like, hey, did you watch it? It's not like that. It's like, oh my gosh, did you see Sebastian and LaQuinta? Look at what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's that magic in feeling, because when they respond back, either they watched it and they're about to hit me back with a text saying, that's a crazy couple, John Beverly is on social media, what is he doing? Or they're going to say, they're going to wait about 45 minutes and then I'll get a text messages because they went back and watched it. And it's those things, guys, that are crucial. And it's a gray area of tricking them, but tricking them for their own good, because otherwise they're not going to think it's as important as it is. And the things and the nuggets that we're getting on this call is just off the charts good. And then honestly, it's just engaging. So if they got their license, or if they're in the process of getting their license, I realized that you can still GS3 prior to getting the license. And before, I was just kind of, all right, when you get it, let me know. And like, it's just like, how, like, engage with them along the way, still build that relationship. You can still figure out what they want, and it just gets them paid so much faster. And if you already know what they want, it's so much easier to move people along. Like, hey, we got to get this going, because I know you really want to do this for your daughter. Let's make sure that gets done. Hey, I really know this. And it just shows, again, that you're listening, that you care. And it feels less like, I don't know, like strenuous. It feels less like aggravating, because they know that you're going to help them get where they want, and in return, you're obviously going to get what you want. And that's been, I think, probably, if I would say, is the GS3s in actually going to serve. So that third part is actually pretty crucial, and that serving part, being there in the travel, has only been everything. So if you can get out of your house and go see people, go help them, do it. Spend the money that you have, whatever it takes. Because the system works. You're muted.
How many times am I going to do that today? Can you talk, because I know you've been getting out and going to Houston a lot. And at first you went a little bit, and then you stopped, and then you started, and you've been really consistent lately. But how that momentum built when you just start going to them, and like Sebastian and LaQuinta talked about, they went to see Terry and Tia, and I think it's awesome. Like, you're in Jacksonville today, I think that's great too. But Sebastian and LaQuinta are weird. You know what I mean? Like, they're different. If you're waiting for the person that's going to travel to you, you're going to be waiting a long time. You know what I mean? They're weird in a good way. And what I'm saying is that doesn't happen a lot, and it more happens once you start traveling to them, and it's in that, and the things that you do. But with, like, I know you're trying to build a business in Tampa where you live, right, and in Houston, and you're in Tampa more than you're in Houston, but it seems like your business is growing more in Houston than it is Tampa. My business grows more everywhere besides Jacksonville, which is weird too. But it's kind of like when you get out and start working with these people and building relationships, can you talk about the things? Because I know, like, with Ellie and Tad, the relationship you built with them, and that you hang out with them a ton while you're out there, and just the tightness and the, good people that you have out there. What has that changed of actually just leaving your house and going to serve?
Again, like, because the way that I hired, just so you know, like, and in Kaya too, so they came from ads, right? And so you have to figure out how you're going to separate yourself from every other Joe that they've talked to, or you're actually going to keep your word and they can trust you that you can get them where they want to go. And so going there at first is really just to show face, like, look, I'm real. This is what I've done. This is what I can help you do. And what do we got to do? Like, you're just kind of Like, what's up? What's the game plan here? How can we execute today? And the more that I did that, and so Riddle talked about where I started and then I let up, and that almost like ruined everything. And why? Because it was uncomfortable to keep going. Why? Because it was inconvenient to keep going. And I realized that I actually am the best me the more I keep going, and I'm able to show up more present. And so when I go, again, it's, you are helping them build a business, and you are there with them on the dials, and you are like, I'm doing a lot of hot seats right now. We are inspecting everything numbers wise, because you want to make sure, especially when they're a new you're just trying to make sure that they're being profitable and make sure that everything is matching up with, because I'm going home, right? And like, I could only take your word on what happens when I leave, but I know the system works. So if we figure out what this looks like, what it should look like in 2 weeks when I get back, this is what we're going to do next. And it's like, it's that part. It's a bam fam, really. It's like, hey, I'm going to be back in 2 weeks. Then I'm going to take the next person in the car. We're going to figure out what we worked on, if it worked, that kind of stuff. And like, I usually, a lot of people think the reason why they don't go is because they have to be there 5-6 days at a time. They got to go on vacation. And really they underestimate what they could do in a span of 2 or 3 days. And, the 2 or 3 days, you can get there on the earliest flight, and don't take a midday flight. I've done that. Don't bail out. I've made all the mistakes. If you want to know what to not do, also call me. But it's
take a midday flight. What's wrong with a midday flight?
Yeah. I mean, what do you get done? I think I had a heck of a 2 days, and Riddle was like, what time is your flight? It was like at 11. I didn't land, we lose the hour. I was just on the plane the whole entire day. So it's like, what did I actually get done in the morning? And then what did I get home? What did I get done when I got home? But nothing. And you don't think about that until you have an ear like, hello, that wasn't the plan. Run the play.
First or last flight all the time.
First or last flight. I try to get creative, Sebastian. It doesn't work. But it's like, you underestimate what you can do in 48 hours, what your presence can do there. And it's not because you're just so awesome. It's just because you have a little bit of experience, and you can show them that it's not as scary, or it's not this, or you can get a feel for people when you're actually in front of them on what's holding them back, or what it is that they actually want, or what's going on. And so just seeing them, making friends, because these are people I want to do life with. I think every time I go, Kaya got, 5 or 6 people ready, locked and loaded. He's like, Michelle, I got this person, I got this couple, they're super sharp. I'm just excited because he's excited. And like, it's just so powerful what you can do in that locker room, and your team in another place will become closer. Because you kind of all have to meet in an area. In Tampa, it could be kind of sporadic. People are like, the prophet don't have glory in their own land, right? But Houston, you come to that place, they have to almost come to you because you travel all this way. So it builds that camaraderie, and we're cheering for each other. So, I mean, I'm just so excited for the growth that's coming on. Seriously.
Awesome. Hey, coming back to you, John, anything you want to wrap up with, like why are you building? Why are you doing these 4 basics of recruiting to build your business? Like what are you doing it for? Talk a little bit about that.
I mean, for me, I've seen what the superstars in this business, I've seen what growing and building and serving their team has done for them. Right. And I want to put myself in the same echelon. Like, I mean, hell, we're all competitive here. I want to be at the top too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get left behind. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the person that's been here for 5 years and still stuck in the same situation. No, I want myself to grow, and I want my team to grow. I want them to be better. I want them to try to get, as high as they can. I want them to try to get as high as me. I don't want them to get higher than me, but I want them to get as high as me, right? Because that's going to continue to keep pushing me to where I want to go. So I've seen what this part of the business can do for someone as far as their growth, but then also financially. I mean, I think about the financial part that comes along with that, right? I want to be able to retire my wife. Like, that's the goal here. So using these 4 basics are about what's going to help streamline my process and my team to help me reach the goals that I'm trying to accomplish, and at the same time help them accomplish the goals that they're looking for as well. We all want to be great, and the great thing about the Alliance is we have a system that's in place where everybody can have an opportunity to be great. That's why I'm doing it.
Awesome, man. Super fired up for what you and Nikki got going on. And excited to be work. I love having you part of the team, man. Love having you there. All right, Sebastian LaQuinta, wrap it up. Tell them why you guys are building this and doing the basics to build your team out.
Andy, it's simple. I mean, we love helping people. We were put on this earth to help people. And it's just so refreshing to have found something that helps people the way we help people. We've been involved in a lot of things. We've been in ministry, we've been in other businesses, and the whole premise of our union in our life is helping people. So we get complete joy, we get satisfaction in seeing the people that we touch grow and meet their goal, and we help them meet their potential. Like, for instance, we met a local agent, and she has a lot of life happening, and of course we are attracted because of insurance, but personally we are attracted as well, and so it's not just about what we do in this insurance business, it's about how we connect with people in their life. And so that's what we're enjoying doing, and that's what we love to do every single day. You probably agree with that.
Yeah, but for me, it's like when I think about the opportunity that's been provided, when I think about Andy and Jane Albright, everything that they did to establish it, everything that they went through to provide this opportunity for us to be able to live like we're living and do like we're doing, I feel like it would be dishonorable not to take advantage of it. How in the world do you sit here with this opportunity in your hand and not bless as many people as you can with it, both agents and clients alike? Do you realize that when we go out and help people, what it does to the community? We're always talking about we want our community to be safe. We want this to be a great place to live. Well, what we're doing is helping establish that. We're attacking poverty with this from both sides. So how could I not be thankful? And then the men and women we serve with in this business, I just want to be looked at and respected, not because I want the respect, but because I have the respect. Because when I'm looking around, I don't want to be a poser. I don't want to be on social media looking like I'm all super filthy rich and I'm broke and busted behind closed doors. I want to be what we say we are, and I want to be able to be next to you, Andy, next to you, John, next to you, Michelle, or Angela. I can't remember who I'm talking to, but I want to be next to you guys, and I want to feel connected because we're actually doing this together. Terry and Tia, Jason and Olga, you and Angela, you guys, Jane and Andy Albright. I don't talk to Andy often, but I know that Jane and Andy care about us. I know it. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we're just out here being the example for other people and helping people do what we do.
Love it. Andy and Jane, as they've done all this stuff, they've always done so much more for me than I've ever could do for them. And the payback, because I always ask them, how can I pay you guys back? And their answer is always grow. The way you pay them back is, and it's kind of like what you were talking about. It's paying it forward, it's growing your team, helping grow other people, the ultimate paybacks you can do. And Andy and Jane have always been a great example of serving, giving, helping, and what we all can do as the Alliance is just to thank them for that is to grow. So love it. All right, Michelle, wrap it up. So tell us what you got going on.
Oh man, that was just so good. Why am I doing this? That you're looking for,
Yeah, why are you building? Why are you going out? Why are you traveling to Houston to fight for this and leave Cassie at home and do all that kind of stuff?
Like, I think it took me a little bit, and I don't know if it's like an age thing or whatever, but I think like I realized the impact I want to leave on people. Like when they think about me, what do they think about? What do they remember? You know, how many people did I help? And I was like telling Cassie, I was like, man, like I think before the Alliance, I didn't realize like how big our life can be. Cause you know, you'd be like, oh, like, you know, there's been times where I've even heard myself say like, oh, I don't care how much money I have. I'll never do this. I'll never do that. And like, it's just so easy to say when you don't have it. Right. But when you're in the presence of people who have it and you see like the life that they can have, like I don't have any kids yet. Right. But I think about like, shoot, I kind of want my kids to live like Brandon, Haley, Spencer. Like that would be cool. You know, I kind of want them to be around like the girls with Riddle. Like I didn't think about that stuff before because I didn't think I can have it. And so we have this crazy cool vehicle that can kind of get you whatever you want. You can tailor it however you want. And not only that, but you can help other people get whatever it is that they want and tailor the lives that they have. It's like, it's just unreal. And so when you're like, you know, why do you want it? It's like, why wouldn't I want it? Who doesn't want it? And if it's the only reason why they wouldn't is because they probably don't know it's so attainable. Now, will it be hard? For sure, but will it be worth it? God, yeah. And so I'm just thinking about to myself, like, yeah, now I'm on the track to get it. Like, and if I just keep going, I'm not that far off, you know, and you're just looking at Sebastian LaQuinta, how fast they've grown. You're looking at John Beverly, you're just like, yeah, it still works. You know, you're looking like it still works and it works for you and it works for you and it works for you. Here's another example. And like whoever wants it, we're just here to give the vehicle to them. So.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much, guys. Great job. Great way leading from the front with your teams and what you guys got going on in your businesses. Super proud of you guys. Andy and Jane, thank you so much for trusting us with the call. We always take it. It's always an honor to be asked to do it. Hey guys, Alliance Nation, just this week I was looking at the hot spots. Tomorrow night, Andy Albright is doing a mingle and networking event in Raleigh. So if you're within a 4 or 5 hour radius of Raleigh, I would definitely get up there, be part of that event. Sebastian LaQuinta are going to be in Edmond, Oklahoma tomorrow night. I saw that. So they're going to be doing that with having an event there, an opportunity meeting. Mike and Noel have a boot camp coming up on the 13th as well in Louisville. And they have some great speakers and people coming there, and they're doing a social there in the evening as well. Have a huge lineup with Gina Hawks, Mike Marisi, Jeremico, Roger Slaughter up in the boot camp up in Detroit on the 14th. And then this on the 14th as well, Brandon Manley, Terry Edwards, and Adam Katz are doing a boot camp at the Burlington home office. So if you're in those areas or you have people in those areas, definitely get them to it. And next week, Andy's doing a Texas swing. Andy will be in Dallas, Texas, and Houston. It's all on the hot spots. He's doing two meet and greets and mingle things in Dallas, and then he's doing one in Houston. So if you have people in those areas, definitely get them there and what you're going to be doing to get things going. So love this team. Love you guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to pour into the Alliance Nations. And thanks again, Andy and Jane. Have a great day.